So as we look forward for today, I know I got into a couple classrooms yesterday, but I want you to actually take time to speak to specific teachers yesterday. I mean, based on the classroom you went to. So the classrooms you didn't go to, I'm expecting that you get into them today. But think about where you went yesterday. What did you see that's going to move us towards the definition of done in that classroom from what you saw yesterday? This is different from the question yesterday. Yesterday, I asked you what impediments, like what's not going to get us to done. Today, I want to know, you went in there yesterday, you have coached this person, given a written feedback. What are I or you going to see if we walked in there today that's moving us towards the definition of done for tomorrow? That's what I want to get to. What did you see in there yesterday? If you weren't in there yesterday, you can't speak to yesterday. You'd have to speak to Tuesday. But the last time you're in that classroom, what did you see as you look to, or I look for us this week? What did you see that's going to move that teacher towards the definition of done for Friday? Can you take us to go first?
Yes, I will. Okay, I've got Dee Romero, South Island. What's going to refer to the definition of done is putting timestamps in her lesson plan, specifically with the BMI and pacing. She currently, you saw she has to move slowly, but there still has to be some kind of pacing in place.
Can you define what you mean by timestamps? And the reason I'm asking so that someone else may want to pick up that as a strategy.
So in collaborative planning, while they're planning, they're thinking about the different pieces of the lesson, and they're actually putting next to it. Like if this is my activating strategy, it will take me 3 minutes. If this is my instructional piece, my direct instruction, it should take me 2 minutes. So it's not only pacing for the students, it's pacing for the teachers. Ron Gale. The things that's going to get us close to done is we're going to work towards when planning, determining that pieces of evidence is going to be posted on the wall with accurate feedback. So I really want my teachers, like what I'm doing, are going into mind, and they start with what are the 2 pieces of evidence that is going to get me to the standard of intent. So at that point, I want them to determine what's going to go up on the wall.
And what's going to go on the wall specifically where again?
Student work is not posted to be there.
So what look for is that going to drive you back to?
Well, I don't have the thing in front of me, but there was one.
I know I'm pushing, but I think it's going to drive you back to target tasks.
Oh, probably. I was looking off to okay. And then also a variety of strategies. What is going to get pushes to done is the PLC after coming on Monday. I'm doing a variety of strategies for reading, as well as I started making deliverables. Like yesterday when I was not out, they had to do the professional development for accountable talk, and there's a deliverable. And plus, when I see them today, I'm going to ask them when I come back into the classroom and do that in practice.
So accountable talk, where does that align with our look for?
It's a variety of strategies for higher order thinking.
So that's the last one. So when we're probing and questioning is where you're pushing them with the accountable talk and the conversation. And don't forget, we're walking tomorrow. Any other take? Are you from?
I got one more.
Got one more.
Bottoms. So what's going to push her to be done is something she's really struggling with. Actually, previous month 4 that you have to get tackled because you've gone and matched up procedures and making sure everything is in place.
Did you refer her towards a coaching cycle for classroom management?
Yes, I did.
Is it more procedures based or is it management or both?
Classroom management.
It's management.
She has procedures in place, but not being followed. So refer her to a coaching cycle, also supplied with retraining videos on classroom management that has deliverables And then her other thing is what should be done is in her lesson plans and PowerPoint to input what she's going to deliver to DNA. That's what's back.
And then one you didn't mention was Turner, which is also being referred for classroom management, which I'm gonna read over her plan today. Can you take us to the next system?
The next, so what's gonna get my group to done is really focusing on the higher order thinking or that first look for. I challenge them all to use a specific strategy this week, and it's either the QRAR strategy or the connection strategy. So I want them to, if one student gives the answer, cite kind of how they got the answer. So is it a connection that I can make to myself, a connection I can make to the world, or a connection I can make to another text or another topic?
Next, I will update my team's cards today, possibly change it tomorrow. We were working on just fine tuning the processes. So the target task alignment and how seamless we want that to look. Timing and pacing again.
So let's go back and let's look at Ms. Lee. What did you observe in our classroom the last time you were there that's moving us towards the definition of done?
She is getting into her groove, so to speak. I am regarding the lesson and student readiness, student tasks being appropriate for what's on the board.
So you saw evidence of her checking for student readiness?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She's using the microphone. The last one, evidence of the student learning and justifying the answers. Today, I asked for student work samples. And I was planning to model, but there's one in the group that I would like to see her style and have the others have an input. We're gonna do it for all four, but we'll start with the one who was out, Ms. Morris, so we can get her where she needs to be. She's not gonna be ready by tomorrow, but I'm working
So
on
let's
that.
go with Morris. What evidence did you, or what did you observe in her classroom is moving her towards done?
She's coachable. She doesn't have a grasp of all of them yet. I don't know. I have to
Any of
find her
them?
language.
None of them?
No, ma'am. No.
No microphone?
The microphone.
So that's evidence.
Yes.
Okay.
She's been out. Yeah. So
Okay.
a lot of what we've been working on, she has not been privileged to that. So it's just a matter of getting her on the same rhythm with everybody else. And
I want to recommend that you consider using Mr. Queen's tool and give her written feedback.
Yes.
So she understands that when we go in to do her evaluation and journey, it's going to be reflective.
Right.
If you guys aren't giving them the written, if you're not giving them that written feedback,
Yes,
when I go in and look tomorrow and it's not all what they're thinking, they're going to say, well, I thought I was doing okay.
right. And I think I'm going to share it with them, what we're looking for in specifics, the way it's written there, so that they're able to see it.
And understand, make sure they understand when I come in, that's what they're looking for in journey.
Jones and Leslie were they're there.
What did you observe in Leslie's class that can speak to that she's moving towards done?
She has taken all our recommendations and she is, the target and tasks are aligned. Time and pacing is there, checking for student readiness, the microphone. And evidence of the student learning by justifying the answers. I am seeing it, I didn't hear it, but I saw the work being.
The student evidence.
Yes, sir.
Supported. Okay. And Jones.
Jones was having a little issue when I went in with a student, but the students were working, which was what her issue was with the job.
Go back to the look for it. What did you see in there?
Target and task was aligned. She was keeping up with the timing, which was her issue with the job. Checking for student readiness again, microphone. She, her microphone sometimes goes in and out, but I told her to email Mr. Cuevas on that. Evidence of the student learning and justifying the answers. I did not have a chance to see it because I had to pick the child up.
What about a gender script?
We're gonna talk about that today. I didn't specify that one. I didn't look for it yesterday, I forgot.
No one go next?
Fine. Mr. John doing the work on technical student ordinance.
So go back. What did you see that she's doing that's moving her to doing? So impediments, she's not doing. I want to know what is she doing that's moving her towards the definition of doing.
Well, she is using her microphone in class, and what he's saying is getting there for her for the term, and her target task alignment is on track, right? Her agenda script, we've spoken about that, and she should start using them today. I think one of the issues with that is that we were not sure if all the students have agendas and what should really go in the agenda. So we've spoken about that, and the students will start using them. I've informed her to tell them to state their agendas for class. They should have it all, and they should start using them. For Miss 1H, target task alignment is there for her. She's using her microphones, and she has a better command of her classes in terms of management. And maybe that's because of the teaching plan that was done and her getting to know her students. Also, the timing and pacing, we're working on that with her. She's using her timer, so checking for student readiness in the class while using the timer is still a bit of an issue.
So for math, with Mr. Bell, he has a target test alignment. Time and pacing is there.
Is the BME there for Bell?
Second,
Is the BME there for Bell?
so the BME is there for my entire department. You know, I was gonna come back to that. The time and pacing is there. Technical student readiness is like what Ms. Lewis Davis alluded to. He's checking for readiness as he walks around the class, and that's how he's basically dealing with his pacing to see if the students are ready to be released. You know, so you don't hear the check, but you can see the check when he releases the students. He's using the microphone, and the students are justifying the answer. D. Simone is no. So for my department, those are the two pieces that we're not doing. The BMEs and the agenda strips are the pieces that I'm not seeing.
Those are easy to fix.
Those are easy to fix. Yes, ma'am. So Mr. D. Simone, target task alignment is there. He's using the timer. Pacing is good for his classroom. Checking for student readiness is still something that we're working on. I don't hear it. I don't necessarily see it, but at the same time, the students know what the task is. He's using the microphone, and students are justifying. I also walked Miss Sewell in Miss Sewell's class. Task target alignment was good. She's using her timer. The pacing is improving a lot in her classroom. She's using the microphone as well, and students are justifying. And it was the same in Miss Pavita. So again, as a whole department, it's our agenda script, really checking for student readiness, you know, what we're actually hearing, hearing the students discuss the task before they release, and then the BME.
So here's my recommendation with the agenda script. For your departments for next week, give it to them. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, give it to them. If they're struggling, or if Ms. Leslie has it down pat, share hers with everybody. It's not going, Leslie, look in the wrong place. Share with everyone. So sometimes giving them the resource versus having them having to create it, and then we go ahead and gradually release and push ownership back to them. But if it's something we want to happen, there's no excuse. If I give it to you, all you gotta do is put it on the board and enforce it, the kids do it, that's back on them. Or if you're collaboratively planning today, say, hey, Mr. Kirkland, this will be a great agenda fit for your kids for today, because you're gonna have to actually have them learn the history behind jumping jacks, you know, in physical education. Hey, maybe you wanna give a quote about the Guinness World Book of Records for the person who has the most jumping jacks, and make that your agenda script. Give it to them. I do want you to go ahead and share out, Clay, because you are the whole reason why I went with this question. I mean, Ortiz, you are the whole reason why I went with this question this morning. What did you see yesterday that's moving your team towards the definition of done?
Okay, so for specifically for this trip plan, he showed us he worked very there. He showed us a lot of like components of the look for that we're
Be
looking
specific,
for.
what did you see?
Okay, so he was using the timing of pacing, like he was actually he was even holding the timer going around the kids. I know there's a different setting because he's in the locker room, but he was holding the timer, telling the kids, do this, we have this time left, you're gonna have this time, this amount of time left. And he was very specific with it. He was even referring to what the success criteria was when they were doing the assignment. He had one thing that we saw is like they were taking notes, and usually you don't see kids writing a lot of things in PE. That's what it is sometimes. But we were able to see like they were actually following expectations. They were doing it. They were filling that paper up, and that's good to see. Because sometimes we go, we have different classrooms, and when we go to the other classrooms, if they don't have that specific procedure, if they don't have like if they are not using corner modes, if they are not using erasers, then the students are not having a specific protocol to follow. And we go to other classrooms, and then you see like it's not about the amount, but at the same time, if you don't provide them with the tool to follow, then they don't know what to do, and they just gonna do what I think is correct. So if we start, and that's one thing that I'm gonna start doing with the other classes, because I have seen it all for everybody. I will start pushing in for start seeing that procedure in place, because they are not, to be honest, they are not using it. And we want to see that, because that's something that we want to look for the FSAs and that writing part and reading part. And they're falling back on the timing of pacing, because when I go to other classrooms, they were doing it, but now maybe they are forgetting about it, or they do it sometimes, but they do it consistently. And the last one, but not least, the basic part of random calling. I know I already mentioned that. And the agenda script, that's all.
So as we move into today, I'm gonna ask the same question tomorrow, just so you can prepare. What did you see that's moving us towards the definition of done? I understand their impediments, because you've given me those, and I've addressed those that I can address. I've given you strategies to address them. But my big push for you guys, I don't monitor your written feedback. I just ask you to do it. But I can tell if you're doing it, because when I go back, the situation should be rectified. Remember, the goal is to take I can't off the table. It's either I can't do something or I won't do it. If I can't do it, that's why we're here, to help them be able to do it. If it's a I won't do it, then that's all on me. And I assume responsibility for correcting that. But if it's they can't do, sometimes we got to give them the resource to make it happen. There's some things on the table that we gave out yesterday. One is that quick, easy summarization that Ortiz has given us to look at the look for us. I appreciate you for creating that tool for us. The other thing that I provided for you yesterday, you didn't pick it up, is the lesson plan, the collaborative planning agenda. So you should have that as well. Before you leave today, I want you to pick up the checklist for lesson plan. As you start to review the lesson plans for next week, there's specific things that I want you to make sure that are embedded. You're not going to be able to go through the whole document. I understand that. But making sure that standard is aligned, making sure that they've identified, like, I love that you're doing that from a backer standpoint. Hey, this is what a kid has to be able to do. This is the evidence that I need to see to support this standard. So we make sure those things are intact. We can work on those other little things later. But if we don't have that, then we're not teaching to the standard, and we're not teaching to the extent of the standard, then what we're doing is useless, and not purposeful. Okay, so grab those resources, and then I also provided for your updated staff listing, because I saw some of you had staff listings that weren't accurate. So I just want to make sure you have those updated documents. All right. We took a little longer, but I'll open up for questions. Go ahead.